Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larson. Welcome back to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. Hey guys, today I got a kind of a neat episode for you guys. I want to talk to you about the MLM model and how it's changed over time. If you're like me, you know MLM is an amazing opportunity to grow a real asset for yourself. But you also see that there's huge issues starting to emerge. Like, why haven't big MLMs let tactics change in over 30 years? Or why have they been cutting commissions smaller and smaller? Or even, how dumb is it that old MLM rules say you'll get in trouble when you use the internet to grow your team? These are some of the blaring questions we all face today. This podcast will show you how real MLMers like us are waging war on the old dying methods. And we aren't cheating by only bugging uninterested family and friends. Follow this podcast while I expose the shocking methods I'm using to build my 10,000 person downline and get people begging to join my team daily. Here's to the new tactics without all those old, rusty MLM shackles. My name is Steve Larson, and welcome to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. What's up, guys? Hey, so today's episode is actually... I'm actually going to kick over to an interview that I did with Lynn Thomas from Create Your Dream Life. I think that's the name of the episode or the podcast. Anyway, Lynn Thomas, she's awesome. We did an interview. If you guys don't know, interviewsteve.com is how you can jump on my calendar. It's pretty full. I know it is. I'll try and figure out a way to open it up a little bit. But she asked me some cool questions that I really haven't been asked that frequently. And what was cool is that in the episode, we were able to go in and dive a little more deeply into how MLM has shifted in the last, especially like 10 years, okay, 10, 15 years. The internet became publicly available in 1991. And a lot of what is being done now in the MLM space are tactics that were developed before the internet actually was around or publicly available. But we all, especially a lot of MLM companies, tend to move forward as if that's not a reality, which I frankly think is stupid. So anyways, I'm excited to cut over. We're going to cut over this episode here, and I'm going to chat with her, and you guys will see, I'll chat with her a little bit about how my approach to MLM, why it's so different and so unique, and why this has been such a big buzz, and why, frankly, whole MLMs have been reaching out and have historically been reaching out, asking us to build funnels for them now and such. What I've been able to go do is kind of take the MLM model as it's been and flip it on its head. So now, rather than me going out and talking to all these people, and I'm the delivery of the message, I actually can go and I can automate the message. I can track it because it's the same message every time. So I can make tweaks and adjustments, but then I can target it to people who are likely to want to be in my downline, who are likely to want whatever my team is selling. That's a big, big deal. And that's why it's been such a disruptive thing. So we do have a book that we're writing about this on the 3 things that you guys can go have. The 3 levers you guys can go turn in your MLM business. You don't own anything in MLM, right? You don't own anything. So what is it that you can create that you do own so you can out leverage the game, right? This is super blue ocean stuff right now, which is exciting. So anyways, let's cut over with Lynn Thomas here. Excited. It was a great interview, and watch to see how it is that I'm kind of changing up how MLM's done. Thanks, guys. Let's kick over.
How did you get started? Like, where did you start in this journey? And why did you start MLM Hacks?
Why did I start MLM Hacks? Well, the first time I tried to get an MLM, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was in college. We had hardly any money. We just found out that we were expecting our first kid, which is very exciting. And I wanted to make a little bit of extra cash in college to be able to pay some of those expenses. And I don't know. I mean, I was running, you know. I got called by one of my buddies, and he and I were always trying to outdo each other. He was a cool guy. We did a lot of cool projects together. But anyways, he called and he said, "Hey, I don't know what this guy's talking about. He's gonna help us make a lot of money. Can I 3-way him in?" And I was totally new. I had no idea what that meant, or that I was in a classic MLM pitch. And I said, "Sure, dude, sounds good." And he calls. And I said, I literally said, "Is this one of those pyramid schemes? Is this one of those?" You know, I was like the worst buyer ever, you know. And he goes, no, it's not. No. All you're going to do. And I was like, why do I need to pay money to get started on this thing to sell things for you? That doesn't make any sense. You know,
yeah.
And I was the worst. And I got off the phone, and my buddy called me right back, and he goes, "Come on, like, you would be great at this. Come on, man." Like, and I was like, "No." And after some resistance, I said, "Sure." Well, I was like, "Well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go both feet in. and I'm going to run as hard as I can. And so I went and I met with a guy in my upline, and I didn't even know what that was, what it was called. I mean, I was so green to the MLM network marketing, direct sales space. I didn't know anything about that. And I went and I got in my car and I drove to go meet him. Then I pulled up and it was this like super old, like warehouse looking thing. It was kind of sketchy. And I went and I walked in, and it was like this table was in the center and nothing else was in this big massive room. It's like out of a scene from Hollywood, It's just this dark with this single light hanging over the table. And I sat down and he goes, "Well, hey, you want to be successful, right?" I said, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Well, you got to do what everyone else does when they're successful. Let's take out your phone. Are you willing to do that?" And I said, "Sure." He goes, "Take your phone out. Let's walk through your contacts and let's see who would be good." And I was like, that makes sense. And we made a huge list of people. And right there, we started calling people. And I was not prepared for that. And I had no idea. And if that's your thing, you're watching or listening to this, like, good on you. But for me, that was it was weird, and I still have relationships that have been soured this day because of that. And I had no idea. And everyone else afterwards, like, "You just want to pitch me? Like, that's our friendship level to you?" It's like, oh, that's crazy. Well, I was not willing to give up. So I went and I started walking down Main Street, literally recruiting people right off the street, people and businesses, and I was just hustling. And I worked super hard for the first like 4 or 5 weeks, and I recruited 13 people. And I was like, this is awesome. And I started doing the thing that we all do. And I was like, if those 13 get 13, and if they get 13 each, like, the next problem I have to solve is, what island will I buy? Like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. And I remember just being so excited about that. And then none of them did anything. And I was like, no, are you serious? And I'm going in, and I'm counting the chips before I have them. And none of them did anything. And soured, I stopped doing anything in MLM. And about a year later, I realized that the problem wasn't, does MLM work? The problem was that I was approaching it with very outdated tactics. And there were people out there who legitimately wanted to find a good opportunity. And so I went and I started learning how to attract the good people. Because what I was doing in the past was like, what we'd all do. And I'd look across the street and be like, oh, it's Mr. Johnson. He really could use this opportunity right now. He needs this opportunity. And like, I realized, like, anytime I have to say that about somebody, they are the wrong person to go and recruit. And they are not runners. They're not business builders. And so I started getting better and better at that whole system and then automating it on the internet using ClickFunnels. And to this day, still, we get about 2, 3, sometimes 4 people a day asking to join my downline who I've never met. And then I get to go in and vet them, and we cut half of them out easily right off the get-go, and find those who are truly excited to build it. So that's been the big, that's what we've been doing. And Secret MLM Hacks is just the program that teaches that.
Yeah, it's an awesome thing that you've built. The thing that I'm struggling with, or that I've found that the people that I've even interviewed they seem to be struggling with, is the offer.
Sure.
And how the offer needs to be separate from your application. Can you explain a little bit about the offer creation?
Yeah, totally. So the way I realized this was kind of backwards and weird. I was knocking doors as a door-to-door salesman, and we were driving out to one of our areas, and I was in a bad mood. Okay. I was having the grumpies. All right. I was getting a lot of rejection, more than I was typically getting. And we're driving out to this area. It was a beautiful morning, blue sky, clear day. We're on the highway driving out to our areas, and I was in a bad mood. And I don't know why, but I remember looking up at these billboards, and I had this phrase come to my head. And I was like, man, I'm getting up every day trying to sell things to people who are not planning on spending money.
Right.
But everybody calling these billboards are calling asking to be sold. And it was the first time in my life I had ever considered that there was already this momentum going around sales, and I needed to learn how to capture it. So what I did, I was selling pest control at the time, door to door. I went and I put up these ads on like classified sites for our pest control. I didn't realize that was like totally illegal because you're supposed to put all these credentials and stuff up. But I was just moving.
Wow.
And I went and I put up all these ads for our pest control, and my phone started blowing up, and people were like, "I've got ants in my pants," or whatever. I got like there's wasps in my walls. There's people begging for the service rather than me selling them on the service, and it flipped the whole scenario. It totally flipped the script, and I started selling like crazy over the phone. And my boss was like, "How are you doing this?" And I said, "I don't know, but I got to shut it down because I've had like 5 calls from like, the FTC and like all these regular, like, I'm so sorry." I went and I shut it all down. But the principle stuck with me, and I made a lot of sales. Both now I'd be knocking doors, but my little system that I had built was selling for me also. So I was selling double what I normally would, and I was ruined. I couldn't knock any more doors because I was like, there's a better way. And so I started approaching MLM differently for that very reason. How can I attract people to me? And so when it comes to offers, I know that's your question, but like when it comes to offers, like people want what you've got. Whoever you are listening or watching this right now, people want what you've got. And you have to realize that anytime we sell a product, it is solving a problem. And it's easier to sell it if they really do have a problem. You don't have to create the problem than sell them the solution. And that's what I'd learned in that door-to-door stuff, knocking doors with those ads. It's like there's people who legitimately do need the product that your MLM is selling right now. And so when you think about like offers, like, let's say just to not call out any specific thing, let's say I'm selling, I've got so many little knickknacks. Let's say I'm selling Trident gum. Okay, got gum on my desk right here. Okay, let's say I'm selling this gum right here.
Yeah.
There is, anytime we sell a product, we solve a problem, but we also create solutions that were not there before we bought. And this is where the opportunity in any business, not just MLM, comes around. I call these follow-up problems. Like if I'm going to go, it's true for any opportunity. If I'm going to go be a Olympic skier, right? The opportunity presents itself. Someone offered it to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could go be in the Olympics. Like, I got to go solve a lot of problems that were never there. What skis will I wear? Who's my coach going to be now? Who am I going to hang out with? What's my eating like? What's my sleep schedule? What mountains am I going to train on? Right? What? You know what I mean? All these things that were never there until that opportunity presented itself. That is the exact same thing, and where the opportunity lies in MLM, when you realize that. As soon as I sell my gum to somebody, or whatever your product is, like, what are the follow-up problems and issues that are there now that they bought from you? And so these are called follow-up problems, right? And so, well, I don't know, like you and I right now, Lynn, we could brainstorm on this, like, maybe I don't like the flavor, maybe maybe there's certain things to eat or drink with or after it that are better, kind of like pairing it,
Right. Well, maybe there's an aftertaste or something.
Yeah, maybe there's an aftertaste. Maybe you don't like that your mouth might get a little dry even, or maybe you don't like. And so what's cool is like that list doesn't come from us as salesmen, right? In MLM, you are a salesman. And it comes from your dream. So if you're like, I don't know what the follow-up problems are, we'll go to anybody who's bought your product ever and say, hey, what do you wish was a little bit different with this product? And shut up and take out a piece of paper, right? And you realize this is when the market starts guiding the offer that they want from you. And this is very key, and it's one of the major reasons why I love MLM so much. You don't have to make this initial product to get those questions out. It's already made for you. So I go out and I share it with people and I say, hey, here's this thing. What are the issues you have? And I start writing and writing and writing and writing. And then I look for the top 2 or 3 most commonly said things. And the magic is here. I create a product to solve that follow-up problem that the majority seem to be having. And I give it away for free with this product when they buy it through me. So in MLM, that's how I do it. So I go in, I've got my MLM product, all right, and I say, here's my product. And they're like, oh, you know what? I wish I knew how to do it this way. I wish this. Oh, and by the way, I want to join you, Steven. So how do I get leads? How do I do this? What are the scripts?
Right.
So on my own, I just solved all of those follow-up problems, and I give those things away for free when they buy through me or when they buy the product through me. Now I've outvalued everybody in my upline, everyone in my downline, and I am the most attractive person to come buy through. Because in
But the thing
reality,
with, go ahead.
I would say in reality, my upline is my competition. My downline is my competition, and although we're friends and we're family, and we're all becoming associates and such, it is competition.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the MLM hacks thing, though, is a thing that is attracting people to you, and then eventually they ask to join you. Is that right?
Yes, sometimes that's not. Yeah,
Not all the time.
well, I don't ever tell anyone what I'm in. I kept it very third party.
Right.
It's very third party. It's meant to educate the MLM space because no one has really been approaching MLM this way, and so I figure if I can go
No,
be
that's true.
the category king in this space with MLM funnels, like
Yeah,
it
like
can't be a pitch
you
fest,
kind
so
of
it doesn't.
broken, like I'm hearing shattering windows and stuff. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you're like kind of breaking the old paradigm.
yeah.
Um,
Some MLMs really don't like it.
I imagine. I imagine. Because you were saying that MLM is broken,
Yeah, I believe that.
and it's been broken
Yeah,
for a long time. We
yeah,
have the internet, we have new ways of reaching out to people,
yeah.
yet they're still saying, let's
Don't do that.
develop your 100. Let's have 100 more contacts,
Yeah.
and let's call them.
No, yeah. Why don't we talk to those who are actually wanting to buy, who want the solution, and then let's just out. It's capitalism. Let's just give a lot of value, and then they'll come buy from us instead of everyone else.
So there are a lot of people out there that are looking for and wanting an opportunity, and you're just opening the door so that they can find you.
Yeah. One of the easiest ways, if someone's looking to gain a lot of traction easily in the MLM space, I don't mean this in a negative way, but it is the reality. When you look at what a lot of other, like if you compare brand new people who sell on the internet in general, with
Yeah,
brand new people who sell in the MLM space, there's far more education that is much better to the general internet marketer. And so what I started looking at is in the MLM space, what's the education that is most readily available and what's the quality of it and is it up to date? And so I went in and I started buying all of the MLM industry's top books and courses and CDs and and I started consuming them, and almost all of them have the same ideas, which is like simple things to say to people to get them to jump into your downline, right?
right.
Simple mind control. Let's work on the way you speak with people. And I'm like,
Script. Yeah.
no, right? Yeah, let's just skip all of that and let's learn to talk to those who actually want the product and how to automate the interaction with them. And then let's elevate the education quality. And so if someone's looking to have a lot of stature easily in the MLM space, it's actually really, really simple. Like, because go buy all the top books, go see what they're talking about. It's kind of garbage. It's really, really old when you compare it to what is actually already working in other industries. So all I've been doing is taking this education and telling it to a new industry that's never heard it.
It's a mind blower.
Super fun.
Can you explain to me why you killed yourself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what Lynn's referring to is I say Steve killed Steven. And in high school, I was 35% body fat. I was a big boy. I had a huge amount of shyness. I had a very rough time speaking with anybody. I'd see an adult and I'd literally walk the other way. It was like a near clinical fear of adults for a while there.
Ooh.
And I'm just going to say it, I was dumb. I would say what you'd call I'm street smart, right, at that time. I got kicked out of college my first semester because I got pretty much straight Fs, and they told me to leave. I had to wait 4 years to go back and reapply. I tell you, like, I'm the least likely success story. And Steven is a great guy, right? I still am Steven. He's a great guy. His natural state is nice guy. That's his
Yeah.
resting state. What I realized is that after a while, I had been studying and I'd been learning so much stuff. It was no longer, hey, I'm not making any money because the opportunity I'm in is bad. What I realized is, hey, I'm not making any money because I'm a terrible delivery system of it. Like, I don't qualify for what the market is requiring for me to go out and be the person that sells and talks and is kind of, aggressive to the right degree. And so I created Steve. And I just did this at Funnel Hacking Live last week. Some things freaked me out. I started getting nervous, but in the negative sense, not the positive, nervous. And it really started crippling me. And it freaked me out. And I went to the speaker room. I shut off all the lights. I put on some pretty aggressive motivational videos. And I was getting on in like 30 minutes. And I just did planks and sit-ups and push-ups. And I was trying to bring Steve out. And that sounds schizophrenic. I promise it isn't. But, like, Steve's a killer. Right, Steve gets on stage and he cracks mics and breaks stages, and he is the attractive character that his market needs him to be. And Steve, he's fun to follow. What's that?
You're not that all the time.
I'm not. No, and that's part of what I say. Like, I'm the least likely success story. It is a learned trait. I was so scared for launching my podcast the first time. I think I recorded like 17 episodes before ever releasing it. It's because I was nervous. I mean, every single step of the way has been a self-doctoring move that was actually the gate for me to do the thing I wanted to do in the first place. And so Steve killed Steven. And I'm not always like, woo! Everyone asks, though. They're like, how do you keep so much energy? I don't. I just, when I'm on camera, I know how to do that. I learned how to talk.
Good morning.
Yeah. What's up? And all the yelling and all that stuff. It's just... No one's that way all the time. Everyone gets nervous. Russell Brunson gets nervous. He was nervous like crazy this last week. It's just Steve killed Steven, and it's okay to learn to be. It doesn't feel fake. It's very genuine. It's just a new side of me that I started learning. I didn't know what was there, and
right,
yeah.
And it's kind of the thing that you were talking about, getting uncomfortable every day.
Yeah.
Be uncomfortable every day, step out of your zone.
Yeah.
Learn something new, do something you haven't done before.
Yeah. There's not all stress is negative. There's de-stress, which is destructive. That's not good stress. And then there's eustress, as in euphoria. Eustress is really good for you. It's like going to the gym. It's good for your brain. It's good for doing something hard every day, as early in the day as you possibly can. Is so good for you.
So are you doing triathlons or something? I seem to recall that you're doing something like that.
I'm about to get back into it. It's been a solid year since I've really done a lot of stuff, and I started signing up for some stuff just so that I could hold my feet to the fire, just get into it again.
But it's kind of a balance thing.
Yeah, right? a little bit. Yeah. I think life balance is kind of a facade. It's hard to define it, so you don't really know when you've reached it. So I just feel like it's a weird thing we compare ourselves to that's kind of unattainable. But
well, anyway. I mean, taking care of mind, body, soul, and then your business and family, and I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Kind of a stretch. Well, we've hit the 20 minutes. Do you have any words of wisdom, parting words of wisdom for my listeners?
Yeah, the MLM space is most easily sold when you couple it with the info product industry. And so what I do is I create these products that teach generally any MLMer. I'm not pitching them at all, but they're not free, and that's for a reason. It filters and brings people to me who are a different mentality, who are fine using something like internet marketing tactics, spending a little bit of money on ads. If somebody can't even spend a little bit of money for some MLM education, they're not a good fit for my downline, right? I'm not trying to recruit everyone and their mom. And that is like, that's totally opposite of what most MLM teaches. I'm actually very snooty. I'm very picky on who I let in my downlines. And the way that I know who to approach is based on who's made it through those front filters. So if you are having a hard time recruiting or having a hard time getting people to you or whatever, like one of the easiest things you can do is create something in the front and stop recruiting everybody. I mean, I don't get on the phone. I don't go to hotels or malls. I don't do any of that.
You don't do meetings?
Stuff. I don't do any of that. None of it.
Wow.
The only thing that I do is we keep selling this front end program. It's not really meant to make money. Any money we make, we just dump it back into ads. And so the people who are buying it are basically funding the ads. Most MLMs don't know how to drive ads. So actually that program is louder than most MLM companies, which is crazy. So this thing is selling like all over the place. If they can spend $15 on ads and I can spend 50, I'm going to crush them. So that front end thing is just meant to liquidate my ad cost and bring good people to me who would be a great fit for my team. Then I'll go and I'll approach. Actually, I don't even approach them. They ask me, and then I make them apply, and they go through an application process, and we filter out another half of them easily.
So then you've got all the people that you're recruiting are people that are ready to run, and they're all using the internet to grow.
Yes. That's what's crazy. So I just hand off the same systems when they join my team. And that's what's so like mind-blowing, because a funnel builder is what my profession is. And so I make good ones, So when they come in, they get these professional funnels that are like, anyways.
Boom.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, when you go in, you flip the whole model on its head and stop doing, frankly, really old tactics. MLM becomes fun again. I'll say it that way.
That's awesome. And then you have time freedom, really. Yeah. You're not chasing, calling.
The people in my downline are my closers, so they're the ones who call the people who apply. So I don't even do that. And they go in, and then we automated our onboarding process, which is actually about to launch in a week or two here. The final parts of it. So we automated all the onboarding, which walks them through how to set up their back office, how to get ads, how to set up the funnels, very simple funnels, how to 30 days setting them all up. Here's how to take advantage of our team's bonuses, anyway. So it's super turnkey.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Hey, remember to leave feedback for me on iTunes. Part of today's challenge in MLM is knowing how to teach your downline all of this stuff, right? Would you like me to help you teach your own downline 5 simple recruiting tips for free? If so, go download the free MLM Masters Pack by subscribing to this podcast at secretmlmhacksradio.com. The course is free and it'll help explain to your team what I'm doing and what you're learning. It also gets sent straight to your inbox. Just go download it at secretmlmhacksradio.com.